How does mortgage affordability work for foreign nationals? I'm going to break this down in this video in the next 5 minutes. So, importantly, I look at mortgage affordability in two ways. Now, the first way is how much the bank will actually lend you, and that is what traditional mortgage affordability is thought of. But the second part of this, and this is the really most important part, is how much can you afford to pay on a monthly basis comfortably? The reason you need to look at it like this is because, of course, once you move into the property, no matter how much money the bank gives you, of course, you need to be able to afford it comfortably based on what your lifestyle actually looks like. The question to ask yourself on that would be, do you want to move into this new property and suddenly feel like all you're doing is just living in your house and you can't go out and see friends, you can't help out family when you need to, or whatever it is you like to do? Of course not. You want to be able to live that life and enjoy that home at the same time. The last thing we want for you is to move into that new property and be suffocated by the monthly payments. So we're going to break this down into two sections, and I'll start with how the bank actually calculates your mortgage affordability. Now, the bank calculates this using your household income. So this would be your income, and if you're buying with a partner or maybe you're buying with another family member, that would also be their income as well. Now, the commitments that both of you have would offset against your affordability. So if you've got credit cards, loans, childcare commitments, dependents, council tax, of course, is a factor. So that will all count against your affordability. So this means that it's not a simple calculation, and the calculations that we actually get from different lenders, the maximum lending amounts, are very different. So it can easily be the case that you've spoken to one bank and they all say that they've given you one amount, and we could look into it and find a lender that would potentially give you a lot more. The same numbers, it's just how the two different banks look at it differently. Importantly as well, the mortgage term length can affect this a lot because, for example, on a 20-year mortgage term, the monthly payment's a lot higher, as opposed to a 35-year mortgage term, it brings the monthly payments down lower, of course, because they're stretched out over a longer period. Now, when it comes to the actual numbers of this, if you're using a 5% deposit for most people, realistically, the maximum you'll get is 4.49 times your household income. But sometimes we can get up to 6 times your salaries if one applicant is earning more than about £48,000 per year. Then there's a lender that we can look at who will lend to foreign nationals as long as you've lived here for 18 months. And of course, you're earning over that £48,000 mark that I mentioned. Then that could be an option as well to boost that maximum lending for some clients. If you're using a 10% deposit, then it's going to be somewhere between 4.5 times, normally up to about 4.75 times, although sometimes it can be a bit higher depending on your salaries. And again, we could also potentially have access to that lender that can go up to 6 times your household income as well. To give you an actual example, so if you're earning £50,000 and your partner is earning £35,000, then most lenders would give you somewhere between £382,500 and £403,750. Now, that one lender that I mentioned might be able to give you up to £510,000. Now, it's important to mention this is a very rough guide, and the actual affordability depends on your circumstances, your credit score, as it depends on which lenders that we can go to, and of course the actual numbers themselves as well. Now, if you're unsure on your credit profile, you should check out your credit report now. It's really important to do this early in the process. I've actually put a link in the description below for you to download a credit file on a free trial. This looks at the 3 different credit reference agencies in the UK, so it gives you the best and the most amount of data. Now, to get into your affordability, as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, the last thing we want for you is to be suffocated by your monthly payments when you move in. You need to think, how much am I comfortable paying each month? It's important when looking at this budget that we save about 10% of it for the protection insurance needs. And this is to make sure that your family and you are adequately protected against the risks that come with buying your own home. Now, if you have a specific payment amount or a rough area that you feel comfortable at, maybe that's £2,000 per month, maybe it's £1,500 per month, for example, What we can actually do with the mortgage is a couple of things. Firstly, we can increase the term length of the mortgage where possible up to your anticipated retirement age to minimize the monthly payments. Of course, what we do need to make sure is that we're looking long term, and ultimately you have to pay off that debt at some point, right? So we want to make sure that you're getting an amount of debt that you will be able to pay off before you retire. So if we fast forward 20, 30, 35 years, you'll be living in that home without any mortgage on it. And that is the ultimate goal. The other thing we can look at is the interest rates. So a 2-year fixed rate versus a 5-year fixed rate. Which one is cheaper? What gives you the lower monthly payments? That would be a consideration as well. Now that's it for this video. As you can see, there are 2 clear ways to look at this. One is how much the bank will give you, but the second, the most important in my opinion, is how much can you afford comfortably. I never want a client to move into their next property or their first property and think, oh, like I've moved in, great, but I can't do anything because I'm suffocated by monthly payments. So we always look at this. I work it out with clients, make sure that they can afford what they're actually looking to do. Now, if you enjoyed this video, I've got another video that I know you'll love. It's called Everything That You Need to Know to Buy Your First Home in the UK as a Foreign National. And I'm going to link it somewhere up here so you can just click on the video and it will take you through. A warning is that it is about 42 minutes long. It is everything you need to know, right? So it's a long video, but it breaks everything down step by step. So if you want to watch it chapter by chapter, or maybe set aside some time to watch, give it a watch. Let me know if you've got any questions. And if you want me to make a video on anything specific, drop it in the comments section below and I'll get to it within a couple of weeks. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next video.